N is for making bowls of cereal to eat. I is for ice cream, chilled, cold, and sweet. L is lots and lots of yogurt feasts. K is for keeping healthy with dairy treats. Milk has all of this to offer, you see. Milk is processed for you and me.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Myerwood Farms virtual chat. I am Brittany with Discover Dairy, and we are going to have so much fun today. We've got Farmer Melanie on standby. We've got all of your questions and comments rolling in on that chat, and we have two of the cutest calves, Kora and Harper, ready for their close-ups today. This event is part of the Adopt a Cow program. More than 48,000 classes and 2.1 million students all join the fun for free this year, thanks to our incredible supporters at American Dairy Association Northeast and the Dairy Excellence Foundation. And I know many of you are already excited to join the fun for next year. So go ahead and mark your calendars for May 1st. Enrollment will begin at discoverdairy.com/adopt. Once registration is open on May 1st, you can go ahead and re-enroll and get excited for next year. We welcome you to go ahead and join, invite all of your friends to join the fun next year too. And because this is live, we want to hear from you. So go ahead and drop your questions. Tell us where you're joining from. And let's fill that chat with all kinds of energy. We are so excited to hear from you. Speaking of that chat, let's see who's joining us today. So let's take a look. One of the first folks that was on waiting for us this morning was Kennedy Park kindergartners, who is saying thank you for the yummy milk. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. We're so excited to have you. Let's see, we've got some. We have Mrs. Emma and Mrs. Ismail's fifth grade classes joining us today in Millville, New Jersey. Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's see, let's scroll down a little bit further. We've got Mrs. Perez's first grade class in Lawrence Township. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Let's see, we have First Avenue School in Newark, room 107. Hello, all. We're so excited to have you today. Thanks for joining us. Let's see, we have Mrs. Jennigans and Mrs. Duffy's fifth graders. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Let's scroll down a little bit further. We have Mrs. Apgar's second grade class in Knowlton, New Jersey. Hello and welcome. Thank you for hopping on today. And let's do one more, and we'll try to make sure we get some more shout outs as we go. We've got, how about Mrs. Ganachi's kindergarten class in Lincoln Park, New Jersey. Hello and welcome. Good morning to all of you. Thank you for joining us. Go ahead and keep letting us know where you're tuning in from. We are so thrilled to have you. And I know Farmer Melanie is excited to meet with you too. So, speaking of Farmer Melanie, I'm so excited to introduce you to her. Hey, Farmer Melanie, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm great. Really happy to
Oh,
be here.
yeah. Oh, that's awesome. We are so excited to be on your farm today and, of course, get to meet our girls in a little bit here. But I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself a little bit. I know some folks have had the pleasure of meeting you in person, but many are only getting to learn about you through all of our updates. So I'll let you introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your role on the farm, and also just remind us a little bit about Myerwood Farms.
Sure. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm glad you come today. I was really looking so excited to see everybody, even though I don't see you. You can see me. This is my first year doing Adopt a Cow. I've been very surprised about how much everybody has loved our two calves and loved learning about them. Thanks for anybody that sent cards or writing assignments. I have read them. They are adorable, and I just
Oh,
really am touched that everybody cares enough to do that. I
yeah.
am the seventh generation here at the farm. That means it's been a dairy farm in my family for quite a long time.
Wow.
On my parents' house, I don't know if you can hear the road here, but there's a very busy road here. We have a picture of a drawing of a horse and buggy going in front of my parents' house here on this location.
Oh,
So we've been here for quite a
wow.
while. We milk 500 cows 3 times a day, and then we
Mm.
have all the young ones that go with it. So every day we are caring for 1,000 cows. It doesn't
Wow.
matter if it's cold or blizzard. Did everybody get a lot of snow and cold this winter? Well, we
Oh
had to
yeah.
still be out here and taking care of our cows because they rely on us and we rely on them.
Yeah.
So along at the farm here is with my parents and my brother and one of my nephews.
Hmm.
And then we have 8 employees that help us take care of them every day. So it takes care
Wow.
of milking them, feeding them, cleaning up after them. This pen just got bedding today. You might notice a little bit of
Mm.
straw on top of Kora and Harper. They just got bedded up today to have a nice clean bed.
Oh. Nice. Wow. So you have over 1,000 animals on the farm you're taking care of, and a team of 8 employees plus your family. That's certainly a lot of animals, but a good team of people to help manage all of that. But I am curious, that's still not like a one-to-one ratio. So how do you, as farmers, keep eyes or help manage all of those cows on your farm? What kind of tools do you have to help manage all of those cows?
Well, that's a good question. We have technology that helps us quite a bit.
Hmm.
We have a very special monitoring bolus in each of the cow's stomach. I don't know if everybody knows, but a cow has 4 stomachs. And a
Uh-huh.
couple of years ago, we invested in technology to put a bolus, a large pill, into one of the stomachs. It stays there in the stomach and it
Hmm.
constantly gives us the cow's rumination, how much her stomach is working, her body
Wow.
temperature. It tells us how much she drinks and how much she walks around. And what that helps me do is I can take care of the cows. I can see the cows. I can get an alert about the cow if it's not feeling well. So even
Wow.
though there's so many of them here, I feel like I can take care of them personally one on one because of
Yeah.
this technology that's helping me.
Wow.
Also, in our milk cows, we have an RFID ear tag in one of the ears. So when
Okay.
they walk into the milking parlor, it identifies what cow that is. So even though you know them as Kora and Harper, I know them as 7929 and 7930 because that's how the
Gotcha.
computer takes care of them. So it records how much milk she has. It adds the 3 weights together since that they're milked
Mhm,
3 times a day, and it can
mhm.
tell me if a cow has less milk than her average, and that way I know I can go check on her to see if maybe she's not feeling well also.
Sure. Wow, that's incredible. I mean, it sounds kind of like a Fitbit for their ear and everything that they're, I mean, you're tracking everything, right? And it's telling you all kinds of information. I know my watch yells at me when it's time to stand up after sitting for too long. So it kind of does the same thing, right? It's notifying you as a farmer, like, hey, we need to check out this cow. She's not moving, or oh, everything is great here. She's doing fine, right? Something similar to that.
It's exactly like that. I had one cow was
Wow.
having a high temperature for 4 days in a row. I gave her one antibiotic for the prescribed 3 days.
Hmm.
I saw no improvement from her temperature alerts. So my vet is able to log on and see my diagrams of the cows, and we decided to
Wow.
switch to a different antibiotic. So he, even though my vet is 2 hours away, it's like he can evaluate them also. So we came up with a plan yesterday to switch to a stronger antibiotic, and the cow is, you could see her temperature has dropped on her diagram. So it's just a very, very useful tool for us.
Yeah, that's incredible. So I love that you said you work with a vet, and I'm sure you work with many other professionals that we'll talk about eventually, especially when we talk about feed. But um, I love that the vet can virtually step in and use that technology that you're using and help be that extra hand, right? Making sure, okay, we tried this, something's not quite right, right? Making sure those animals are healthy and happy is your number one priority. So being able to connect with the vet in that way, like you said, they are 2 hours away. So being able to have instant data. That's amazing. I love that. How cool that you all are able to use technology in that way to make sure our cows are doing well, including our adorable calves like Harper and Cora. So if we can go ahead and step over to Harper and Cora and see how they're doing. I know we have lots of excited kiddos who are ready to see them. Oh
So
my
this one
goodness.
is Kora.
Hey, Cora.
I have
Oh my.
found her to be extremely friendly. Last month when we did some tours, we had tied them up so they can be trained to walk with a
Hmm.
halter, much like you can walk a dog with a halter or a leash.
Hmm.
So Cora, every time I went to hand feed her, she would always try to chew on the back of my shirt. So you always just had to be prepared for her to interact with you.
Oh, oh my goodness. And then Harper's in the front here, right?
Yes,
No,
yep.
now they switched a little bit. Oh,
So this
oh
is
my
Harper.
goodness. Oh, wow. Okay, so let's see if we can hit recall here on how our girls are doing. So I know, well, since Harper's in the camera right now, we'll start with Harper. So when she was born, she was 31 inches and 100 pounds. So certainly much smaller than she is now. And then at our last update, she was 500, they both were around 550 pounds and 46 and a half inches. How big do you think Harper is now?
Harper is, we just measured them today. She is 52 inches
Wow.
and she weighs, just 1 second here, about 580 pounds.
Wow. So 580 pounds and 52 inches. She definitely put on quite a bit of height there for us. She is getting so big, and you can see that in her legs, how tall she is. Oh my goodness, she's such a pretty girl. So for anyone that's been charting all of their heights and weights, she grew 30 pounds. She grew a couple inches. That's so exciting. Love to see that she's doing happy very, very well. And we've loved that mark on her head. We always thought it was just so unique. Other than that mark, it's a little tricky to tell them apart because they do really look a lot alike to each other. Let's see. So, how is Cora doing? So, at Cora's beginning height and weight, we had her, she was a little bit smaller to start. She was 26 inches and 90 pounds at birth. And then we had her about 550 pounds and 46 and a half inches at 6 months old. How big do you think she is now?
So she is 53 inches. So actually, she is an inch taller than Harper.
Oh my
So I
goodness.
didn't realize that Cora started out smaller. So thank you for that information. It's interesting she passed her, and she
Right.
weighs 580 pounds.
Gotcha. So they're both around the same height, but Cora got some extra long legs, it sounds like, and put on a little bit of extra height. Oh my goodness. They are both so pretty. I love that. So right now they're right. So we have them in a pen, and I think we have them pulled out separately. But this is where they normally live, correct? Can you talk about their current housing?
This is their pen from. They start out in the calf hutches. Has anybody watched the
Hmm.
video on me online? They start
Hmm.
out in the individual calf hutches. It's like they each have their own bedroom. Then they
Hmm.
move into this barn where they learn to live together. They're in groups of either 8, or they start out in groups of 8. Then they can move up to a group of 15 or 16. And then when they graduate on up down the line, then they'll go up across the street to a larger version of this barn. And then they learn to live together in groups of 40 and then in groups of 60.
Wow, that's incredible. Um, I'm just our camera person. We can see your finger. Just FYI. Okay, there you go. So they really do move from point A to point B quite a bit as they grow. So it kind of sounds like a little bit like our own students who are in schools, right? They start out in their own room, or and then as they get older, their classrooms get bigger, and then they get to high school and their classes get even bigger, right? So it's I mean it's all part of socializing them and getting them to learn how to live with more animals.
Yes, it's very good comparison.
Awesome. Very cool. So let's see. We have a lot of questions coming in already about these girls. So we'll go ahead and dive right in, Farmer Melanie, if you're ready to answer some questions.
Sure, I'd love to.
Awesome. So let's see. Oh, good question. This is specifically about Cora, but it can be about either one of them. Do Cora and Harper make milk yet? And if not, when will they start producing milk?
So a cow starts producing milk when she has her first calf, and she has her
Gotcha.
first calf when she's 2 years old. So for
Mhm.
2 years, all we do is raise them, let them grow, let them play. So we are investing in them for 2 years before we get any sort of income from them. So they have their
Sure.
first calf when they're 2 years old, and then they'll start producing milk.
Wow. Okay. So, and they're only at 7 months old, so they've got a long while yet until they actually will produce milk and have their own calf. But around 2 years old, they'll be a mom. I know that was one of the questions too. When will she be a mom? So, they'll be a mom around 2 years old. Then they join the milking herd, and they get to live with a huge group of cows all year long, and get to produce that delicious, nutritious milk. Awesome. Let's see. More questions that are coming in. Oh, they're curious. Obviously, Harper and Kora, they probably have gotten a little bit of special treatment this year, right? Especially if you've gotten pictures. Can you tell us about, are they friends at all? Do you notice that they've buddied off, or do they have other friends to hang out with?
I don't know that answer. They've been here in the pen together, and they were. Well, let me correct that. When I had them tied up last month, to get them very friendly for the tour, when I would walk one out to go wash her, the other one that was left behind would be standing there bawling at that her friend had left. So very much they do like to be together when they had the chance. They don't like to be by themselves.
Gotcha.
But in general, cows are very accepting to a new one coming in. They'll be very curious when a new animal joins into the group. But they're very much herd animals, so they like to be together.
Together. Oh, awesome. I love that. So they kind of just like everybody. How do you notice a cow playing? Do they play Parcheesi? Do they get out a board game, or what does play look like for a cow?
I think running around, kicking their heels up. In this barn, they do not go out into a pasture field yet, but when they graduate up to our next barn, they have an access out the gate to a pasture field. So they run out there, they kick their heels up, um, jump around,
Yeah.
lay out in the sun, enjoy the breeze outside.
Oh,
So I think that's playing for them, is just stretching their legs and running around.
sure. Yeah, that's awesome. Oh. So, they're growing big and strong. I'm sure there's a lot of things you need to do to get them there. What's their diet like to help them be big and strong?
When they started, for the first 2 months, they're only drinking milk. Then they start eating a little bit of grain to help develop their stomachs. Remember, does
Okay.
anybody remember how many stomachs a cow has? You can put that in the chat and get a special star
Oh,
from me if you get
yeah.
the right answer. So after, when they are remove the milk from them as their main source of food, we'll introduce a little bit of hay, long pieces of grass, and then after a couple months, if you want to scan down to here,
Hmm.
this is a TMR. So this is very similar to what they'll get for the rest of their life. So these pieces are pieces from a corn plant. So our cows eat corn. They eat a lot of
Hmm.
corn. We grow 800 acres of corn, but we grow it for the whole entire corn plant. We want them to eat the stalk and the leaves and the husk and the ear and the cob. They eat all of that because their stomachs are so special. They need that fiber to to break down, and then they can make milk and grow from that. So they're really eating food that we cannot eat with all these pieces of fiber in them. But just because of the way that their
Wow.
digestive system is with their stomachs, they use that as their source of nutrition.
Hmm. That is awesome. I love that they can eat things that we can't and turn it into something delicious like milk. That's really cool. I love that. And of course, right now they're turning it into energy, but once they get old enough, they'll turn it into milk. Awesome. Let's see. Hey, Farmer Melanie, if you could just step like one step away from the camera, we're just getting a little bit of an echo. Um, so if we could go to the next question here. Oh, good question. How much milk does the farm produce each day? And maybe talk about how much milk does a cow singularly produce a day too.
Sure. Right now, we are averaging about 95 pounds per cow. Um,
Okay.
Cows like the fall, they like the spring, they like the winter. I don't know how many of the kids out there like the summer. You like going to the beach, but a cow does not like the summer. They have a lot of heat stress in the summer. Their big stomachs with their thick
Gotcha.
skin just cannot handle the heat. So a cow always makes
Hmm.
less milk in the summertime. So, but currently we're
Hmm.
making about 95 pounds per cow. It comes
Wow.
out to about 45,000 pounds of milk that leaves the farm every day. It travels about 15 miles away to a plant in Bridgeton,
Hmm.
New Jersey. So anybody on the chat that's near there, that's where our milk goes every day. It gets processed
Cool.
into things like coffee creamer or ice cream or heavy whipping cream or things like that. It's a very specialized
Huh.
product. If anybody goes down to the boardwalk and gets Coors ice cream, Cumberland Dairy
Oh,
that processes our milk, that's one of the products that they make. Also, they have to do with
awesome.
things like Shake Shack ice cream or McDonald's coffee creamers or things like that. Any of those specialty heavy products is what our milk gets made into.
Cool. Man, they're making all the good stuff taste even better, right? With all of those good treats. That is really neat. Thanks for sharing that. We had a quick question. They just stopped doing it, but we saw them licking that white thing in their feet. Can you just touch on what that is?
Sure. So this is a salt block. So in their TMR, besides that corn silage, that whole corn plant, they also have proteins and minerals in there, and they're all mixed together. That way the cow will eat. It's supposed to be every bite that she eats is always the same. Well, salt is the mineral that a cow can self-regulate. So if her body feels like she needs salt, they can come up and lick on the salt block. So you can notice right here,
Gotcha.
you can see the side of this salt block is dented in. So they have been
Hmm.
licking on this block. So that's the mineral that they can self-regulate, that they're free to decide if they want to consume more salt or not.
Interesting. Very cool. Thank you. We had some folks curious about, now I just lost where the question went on the chat, but we had some folks curious about what is it like to actually milk a cow? Like, so what's the process of, the cow walks in, how does that look once they walk into the parlor and you start milking them?
Sure. So we have 4 milking barns. The cows are in free stalls, which means that they're free to get up and to walk around, go eat, go lay down. And they're laying on sand. So it's like they're at the beach every day. So 3 times a day, somebody will go to that barn, bring say there's 108 cows in that barn. That whole group will go into the milking parlor. And then a row of 12 cows will walk in. Someone cleans off their udder with an iodine solution and cloth towels. That also stimulates her brain to say, hey, it's time to start milking. Then we have technology in the milking parlor with a vacuum system. That machine is attached to the udder, and in about 6 or 7 minutes, all her milk is harvested and it travels by pumps into our bulk tank. And our bulk tank is where
Wow.
it cools the milk down. So the milk comes out of the cow around 100 degrees, and we have to cool it down to 38 degrees. That way there's nothing growing in there, and it's very safe, and it helps the final product, the quality of the final product, for us to cool the milk down as quick as we can.
Wow. That's incredible. And all just so we can have cool, delicious milk, right? Now the whole process for the cows, it's very relaxing and enjoyable for them, right?
Oh, it is absolutely. It's especially the cows are making more milk. Their udder can feel that milk pressure in there. So if we are
Sure.
an hour or two behind from milking them, say with something happened in our milking parlor and we have to fix it. If we are even an hour behind, the cows are standing at the gate waiting for us to come milk them. So they
Oh
definitely are
man.
very thankful that we milk them 3 times a day to make them feel more
Sure.
comfortable and just ready
Yeah.
to start eating and drinking again.
Yeah, absolutely. They're kind of your alarm clocks, right? There is no skipping. There is no, taking off for a snowstorm or a holiday or anything like that. They'll be knocking on your barn doors like every single time. Oh my goodness. Okay, some other great questions. We've had a lot of people curious about their sleep. Do they kind of have like do they just sleep at night like we do? Do they have nap times? Like how much do they really sleep a day?
They're free to sleep whenever they want to. A cow doesn't really go into a really, really deep sleep for maybe only a couple minutes out of the day, but she's resting for 12 hours a day. So laying down. If she's laying a milk cow, if she's laying down, she's actually making more milk than if she's standing up. It has to do with something about her blood flow. So we encourage the cows. We try to have enough pen space for them to lay down in a very comfortable bed for as long as they want to. But can you imagine just laying down and resting for 12 to 14 hours a day? That sounds like quite a life.
Oh, I certainly would love that, Farmer Melanie. I'm certain you would enjoy that too. But I guess we just keep working hard, right, to make sure that they get to do all of that relaxing. Speaking of that, I know there were some folks curious about w- what does your day look like? What does the average day look like for you? And then in turn, what does that look like for a cow on the farm?
Well, here we start our first milking shift. The first person comes at 2:30 in the morning to start the milking. I get up about 4 o'clock. I try to be here by 4:45. The first thing I do is I walk around and see how much food everybody has left over. That way I can know to whether I need to make more in for that, a larger load for that group of cows, or a smaller load for that group
Mhm.
of cows. If I came here and their bunk was totally empty, I know something went wrong. Maybe something in the feed ingredient changed, and I can address that right
Sure.
away, because I don't want them to be short of food. I also don't want to come and they didn't eat all their food, that something changed in the amount of water in their food, and that affects how much the load weighs. So that's one of the first things I do. Then I go onto my computer and I log onto the website that has to do with the monitoring boluses, and I look for any alerts I had to see if anybody needs attention
Hmm.
right away or needs to come
Sure.
into our hospital barn. So I do that. And then usually if there's any cows that I have to inseminate, that it's time for them to be bred so she can get pregnant, I take care of that.
Hmm.
And then I go and milk the hospital barn after that. Then after that, my day is
Wow.
free. One of the weeks we are usually graduating the cows around. Like, you know how I said they go from this barn they're in up to the next barn. Then they come back down to
Yeah.
the farm. Then they go to another barn, and then they come back. So in a 2-year lifespan, I think they are moved 6 times. So every other week, I am usually graduating calves up from one place to another place to another place. And then the
Hmm.
other week is more free time to do any maintenance or to catch up on something, or to um, just do something else besides that other busy week.
Sure. Yeah. Goodness, you have your hands full for sure, keeping track of all those girls, and making sure everyone's happy and healthy. Awesome. Thank you for giving us that overview. Let's see. We had a good question. So folks were saying four compartments, right, in the stomach, from what you had asked. But we were curious, why four? Like we only have one. Why do they have four?
I believe that's the way their digestive system was made. There's a lot of enzymes and good bacteria in all the different stomachs. And it's very
Mhm.
special. Up there, you see how they're fighting here? They're playing. They can also play fight too, just how siblings can do that too.
Cool.
So they need those special stomachs to break down this fiber, these long pieces there of grass, and the husk and the stalks and the different kinds of fiber. They need those stomachs with the enzymes and the acids and the bacteria to break that down, for them to get the energy and the protein that their body needs to grow, and to
Sure.
for their immune system, and then also to make the milk.
Awesome. Perfect. Yeah. So it's just right there. They are an animal that has four stomachs. And like you said, it helps break down everything. And they do something called chewing their cud, right? They're not chewing bubble gum. They're actually bringing their food back up, chewing it, getting more nutrition out of it, and putting it back down. That's why, like you mentioned earlier, that they eat the whole stalk of a corn stalk. That's why and how they can do that, because they're able to digest it different ways than we can.
Can you see
Awesome.
the two heifers in the background right behind the one behind Harper there, that black cow? She is chewing her cud right
She's
there.
laying down.
So what
Oh, yep.
so what
Hmm.
she's doing is, that was food that she ate earlier today. And then she has muscles in her esophagus that allows that food to come back up, and she can chew on it some more, break it down some more, and also make saliva, which helps to combat the acid that her stomach is using for digestion. So it has a
Wow.
two-part process of
Incredible.
why a cow chews her cud like that.
Sure. I love that. My goodness, this has been so much fun for Melanie. I don't know where the time went already, but we are already at our half hour time together. Thank you all for sharing such amazing questions. I know we didn't even get to a 20th of your questions. You guys rocked it in that chat today. Thank you for sharing all of your thoughts and comments and love for Cora and Harper. As we wrap up today, Farmer Melanie, I'd love to just hear, right? We've talked about a lot about what your day looks like and all the work you put into these cows, and it's a day in and day out job. So we're curious, what's your why behind everything that you do?
I grew up. I've been here since I've been 2 years old. So it's just very a habit for me to work every day.
Sure.
I just can't imagine where you would have a Saturday and a Sunday off just to stay home. That just seems very odd. Just for me, that's the way I grew up. When I went to college, I did start out as a chemistry major. That was the class I liked in high school the best. And
Nice.
then that first summer that I came home, my parents gave me more responsibilities here on the farm, which I enjoyed that summer. Then I went my second year of college and had organic chemistry and decided I hated that. And I loved so much my summer of just working with the cows that I did not want to be
Mm,
studying to be a job where you're in the books and inside all the time. I wanted an outside job.
sure.
So it
Yeah.
has dairy farming, it has advantages and disadvantages, and I just love both parts of it. I love that it's
Oh,
different, something's different. I have a plan of what I'm going to do today, but something else changes, and I maybe only got half my list done, but there's always more to do
sure.
for tomorrow. So it's just never boring,
Yeah.
and it keeps everybody out of trouble.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely right. Yes, you are never short of things to do. But we are truly thankful for all the work that you do with your calves, you and providing that just amazing, delicious product for us, for all of us to enjoy. Is there anything else you wanted to share with the group before we tune off today?
No, just happy that everybody watch Kora and Harper to realize where their milk comes from, that it just doesn't
Yeah,
come from the store in the back within a plastic jug, that it actually comes from
yeah.
cows and the people that take care of cows. So just think about that when
Mhm,
the next time you have some cheese or some yogurt and all those good sources of protein and minerals, that it actually came from cows
mhm.
and maybe it was from one of my cows.
Yeah, I love that. Someday, hopefully for Cora and Harper too, they'll be able to produce that delicious, nutritious milk. Well, thank you so much. This has been an amazing visit. A huge thank you to Farmer Melanie for opening your barn doors today and just letting us meet Cora and Harper up close. And of course, thank you all the classrooms, all the teachers, all the students for joining us today, for asking such amazing questions in that chat and bringing a lot of excitement to our conversation today. We hope you had fun learning about life on the dairy farm and seeing how your calves grow up with Farmer Melanie. We want to make sure that you go ahead and join the adventure again next year. So don't forget to mark your calendars for May 1st to re-enroll for next year at discoverdairy.com/adopt. From all of us at Discover Dairy and Myerwood Farms, thank you for spending the morning with us. We hope you have a wonderful day. Keep learning, keep exploring, and we hope to see you again soon.